Hi, I'm Zach with Below Basic Mechanic. Today we are working on a BMW 550i. To make a long story short, here's why. Initially, the brake light came on indicating that the rear brakes needed to be changed. I didn't think they were bad because, well, you don't have to change rear brakes very often, but I finally convinced myself they were and ordered parts to change. While changing the rear brakes, I noticed that the driver's rear wheel bearing was loose and also needed to be changed. So I ordered parts for that, waited a few more weeks, and then changed the wheel bearing out as well. Then, when I went to bed in the brakes, the car had been sitting for probably about 2 months, and the car started smoking from the V in the engine. I assumed that the plastic Y piece had broken, but after disassembling the car and replacing parts, I realized that it actually was just small leaks, but that is what we will see here. The first 5 minutes are the disassembly. After disassembly, I move the camera for a better angle. Now you'll notice me working with a little orange and white tool. It's just a tiny little hacksaw that I'm using to cut off the stock BMW clamps so I can get the coolant hoses out. Here I am taking out the fuel line. If you're planning on doing this, I'd wait until later in the process to take it out. There's no need for it to come out this early, and being a solid line, it's fairly hard to thread out. I mess up here and take the alternator off without removing the belt first. The small coolant tank is in the way and I just wasn't paying enough attention and unscrewed it. I thought it was weird how it was tilting when I unscrewed it, but I really was not putting any thought into it when I was doing this. Now, as a general disassembly note, I'm bagging and marking all the screws I take out. It significantly cuts down on the extra screws that gremlins put in your work area when you have everything marked. This is where it took forever to get the V-band clamp off. These V-band clamps, the ones on the underside, are extremely hard to reach, and it took a lot of struggling and a long time for me to get it. I deleted most of the footage, but I think it's worth noting. At some point, someone else was working on this engine. Here I am pulling out a red rag that was burnt, or I guess partially burnt, sitting in the V portion of the engine. I'm guessing someone forgot it when working on it in the past. This picture is a little bit blurry, but the heat shield isn't too bad. There's really not that much buildup on it. So we are getting close with the disassembly. We need to remove the exhaust manifolds, and then we'll be able to see how significant the buildup of coolant is. We can now see the V portion of the engine. This video doesn't do it justice as the coolant is caked on and pretty deep. In total, this partially dry coolant goo is probably 1/4 to 1/2 inch deep. Now we are onto the cleaning. I cut out a lot of the video, but I plugged everything off and used a lot of paper towels, a screwdriver, a brush, and a vacuum to get everything clean. I have a lot of the junk removed, so now I'm removing the oil return cover. This is the one that commonly leaks, and it's best practice to replace it when this far into the engine. After more cleaning, we are on to replacing the brass Y. I bought a brass T and a brass Y for this, but the T seems to fit the best, so it's what I'm installing. It's time to put the car back together. We are starting with the oil return cover and then the heat shield. As shown in the picture here, there is an order to tightening these bolts. It is also a two-step process where you go from 15 Newton meters to 20 Newton meters. I'm using a wrench to tighten the bolts under the catalytic converters. I can't reach it with the torque wrench, so that's why I'm using a regular wrench. As you can see, I also put the wrench on one of the bolts in the middle. That's just to kind of feel how tight it is, so I get an idea of how much I need to tighten up the bolt under the cat. Now we are going to clean the turbos a little bit and replace the turbo oil return lines before reinstalling them in the car. I'm cutting the oil return line in half as I saw a picture online where one was super gunked up with oil, so I want to see how mine is. As you can see, there is no oil in the return lines. That's a good thing, but I definitely wasted a bit of money buying the new ones. A bit more cleaning and we're back to the assembly. I forgot to buy new seals for the oil return line, so I'm using the original ones and some ultra copper to get a good seal. My battery ran out, so I missed tightening up the V-band clamps. The second turbo to exhaust manifold one is a real pain though. There is very little room to work with, so it took me a while to get it. Here's a quick break for you to enjoy instead. Now it's time to get all the hoses, wires, and small parts put back. Sorry about the quality of video here. I was recording vertical, and when I flipped the video in Filmora, it appears to have cut the resolution down. If anyone knows how to fix it, I'd appreciate it for later videos. Now as you can see, I'm replacing some of the coolant hose with stuff I got on Amazon. I saw a picture of someone who did it on the forum, and as I wanted to replace the hose, I thought the clear hose was a really cool idea. I also replaced all these fittings up top with brass fittings to make it more durable and have less leaks. Once again, this is Zach with Below Basic Mechanic. Please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you like the content. Also, please drop me a comment down below if you have any questions or if there's anything you would like to see. Thanks for watching.